Deborah, you're on YouTube. Can you admit your husband's a criminal? Can you admit you're a criminal?
Mike, fair or unfair?
A felon. Sheriff is going to jail 5.5 years after abuse against the Mexican community. His deputies involved in a lot of police brutality, which the media didn't cover, of course. Mike Carona, many of your deputies under your watch committed police abuse. Now you're going to pay your crimes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'll see you later. Take care. Bye.
5.5 years jail time.
Divorce him now.
I'm here speaking today on behalf of Congressman O'Brien, the U.S. Attorney. He was unable to make the trip to Orange County today. On his behalf and on behalf of the entire office, I want to thank the significant efforts made in the investigation against Sheriff Carona by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, by criminal investigators and Internal Revenue Service. The work that they did on the case has led us to today a significant sentence that Sheriff Carona has received. I also want to acknowledge the 3 prosecutors behind me. Brett Sagal, Ken Julian, spent the past several years working on this case, working tirelessly to try to uncover the truth of the corruption surrounding the Carona administration. Rob Atkins, chief of his office, also joins me today. Judge Guilford has issued a fair and just sentence reflecting the criminal activities of Sheriff Carona. A sentence that takes into account the criminal conduct that started during his campaign for sheriff and continued into his administration. Judge Guilford, in issuing the 5.5-year sentence in federal prison, wanted to, I think, show the impact of the wrongdoing that Sheriff Carona has had on his community. Judge Guilford specifically mentioned the impact that Sheriff Carona's activities had on his office, the Orange County Sheriff's Department, had on the criminal justice system in general, and had on every member of the public here in Orange County. The breach of trust that the highest ranking law enforcement official showed by the actions that he took to solicit money and other benefits for him and his associates demonstrates, as the judge put it today, a deep cynicism about the system that he was a part of. The government did recommend a significant prison sentence. Today, Sheriff Carona has been sentenced to 5.5 years in federal prison. That's a prison system in which there is no parole. So once he begins serving his sentence, he will serve at least 85% of that sentence. Judge Guilford also imposed a significant fine, again, wanting to send a message to Sheriff Carona, to members of the Orange County community, to people involved in the criminal justice system, that this type of behavior will not be accepted. So we'll take 1 or 2 questions and let you get on to your newscast.
Tom, were you surprised that the judge made reference to Carona's actions and statements after the verdicts were read back in January? He made a very specific point of that. Did that surprise anybody?
In terms of whether we're surprised, not surprised, what we were hoping the judge would do, it's not something that I'm going to comment on. I will say that the judge did make special point to comment on Sheriff Carona coming out before these cameras and say that he was vindicated, and say that this was a complete victory on the defense camp. And I think the judge shot a cannon shot into that argument that he made. 5.5-year prison sentence sends a significant message, as the judge said, to Sheriff Carona and to the citizens of Orange County that what he did, the actual charge of witness tampering that he was found guilty of, not only reflects the fact that he was willing to ask one of his criminal associates to lie to a federal grand jury, but that he was engaged in a cover-up of a years-long pattern of criminal conduct. Again, reflecting the cynicism, again to use the judge's words, that Sheriff Carona had for the system he was a part of.
Brett, how do you feel? It's been a long time coming with this sentencing now. How do you feel that it's all over?
You know, in terms of how we feel, we don't think, we don't have any reaction to it. We analyzed the law, we presented the case to a jury. Sheriff Carona, as the judge so aptly pointed out, was convicted of a very serious felony charge. The charge has now resulted in a 5.5-year sentence in federal prison. We're glad that this phase of the case is over. The defense in this case has promised an appeal. We expect we'll be litigating that before the Ninth Circuit.
Sir, what's your name?
Barry Brandon.
Can you tell us your story?
Well, I was taken into the Orange County Jail by the Mission Viejo Sheriff's Department, which I made a call to the Internal Affairs right before I entered the jail. One of the 3 calls was one was to the Internal Affairs making a complaint about some information that was taken off my phone that prior to me going to the jail. When I got there, I'm not sure if the police, the arresting officer, gave the deputies that information, or if he told them that, or if he gave them the information who are called, the phone numbers on the, when you fill out who you call when you get there, your 3 phone calls you're allowed.
Hello?
But when I got there, they asked me questions about my medical condition, whatever, and I didn't answer any questions. So they took my shoes off and they put me in the cell.
They should be taking him into custody.
They take me into the cell. They leave out. They come back telling me saying something belligerent because I wouldn't speak to them. They're like, "What's wrong with you, man?" I'm like, I have nothing to say. I'm not talking to you guys. So I just looked at them, and they left, and then they came back. The door popped open. They came inside the cell and began tasing me. They grabbed me by my legs and put me in a pink restraint and tased me over a dozen times in the back. I made a claim. They let me out the next day. I made a claim with the Internal Affairs. Robert Mann took pictures of everything, all the tase marks on my back, all the burns, all the handcuff marks, and everything. They ran me around in circles for 6 months, put me in a mental hospital, covered up the evidence, and said they did no wrong. The sheriff's department did no wrong on their behalf, and then ran me in circles for 3 years, arrested me multiple times. So I filed a case here in the federal building myself against the Board of Supervisors and Sheriff's Department, which has been transferred to Los Angeles County. And that's about it.
So how do you feel today that the sheriff, the top cop of Orange County, Mike Carona, is going to spend some time in prison?
Yeah, I don't want nobody to go to jail, but he's probably happy he's getting 5 years. That's probably, on his behalf, because they'll tell him what he did. I don't know nothing about the information in detail, which I'm gonna pull up though to follow suit with the district attorneys on the district attorney's behalf, in which he didn't file my case in the courts himself. They're supposed to turn it over the information and file the case themselves when they let me go, which they didn't do. I went to Robert Helvin or Bob Helvin. I went to the district attorney's office and filed a complaint with him too, which they did no follow-up. I tried to go to the Santa Ana Police Department to file a complaint there. They wouldn't let me. They ran me off. They've been running me in circles, trying to, evade, responsibility. I told my probation officer, they did nothing. Nobody's doing nothing except for running a person around in circles. They won't give you no attorneys, the attorney, ABA, attorney bonds or whatever. They have a conflict of interest thing where they can't represent somebody that's suing the state or the anybody from the Board of Supervisors because they work for the Board of Supervisors. They have shareholders within their the company, whatever.